The cold void swallowed Captain Maya Voss's scout ship as it hurtled toward the outer edge of human space. Stars, once bright pinpricks of hope, now seemed dim and distant beneath the looming shadow that blotted the heavens. A shadow cast by the colossal warships of the Xylarian Empire. The enemy fleet was unlike anything humanity had ever faced. Towers of gleaming black metal, miles long, pulsating with energy weapons that could annihilate planets. Their arrival was a silent storm, a cosmic leviathan descending without warning. From her cockpit, Maya stared through reinforced glass at the formation ahead. Hundreds of alien vessels, arranged like a monstrous hive, stretched farther than the eye could see. She tightened her grip on the controls, every muscle taut with tension. "Commander, do you copy?" crackled the voice of Lieutenant Rin on comms, trembling with a mixture of fear and adrenaline. "They're already jamming our long-range sensors. We're blind beyond this point." Maya swallowed hard. "Copy, Rin. Stay sharp. We may be the first, but we won't be the last line of defense." Her voice was steady, but inside, a fire burned fiercely. The Xylarians believed in overwhelming power. Their doctrine was simple: crush resistance quickly and leave no survivors. But humanity had no grand fleets, no ancient weapons. What they had was something the Xylarians had never faced: unpredictability and an unyielding will to survive. Ahead, the largest capital ship, the Imperator, pulsed with ominous light, its massive energy cannons turning toward the human colony hidden in the asteroid belt. Maya's mission was clear: warn the colony and buy time. Suddenly, an ear-splitting crack shattered the silence. The Imperator fired a beam of blinding plasma that tore through the asteroid field, vaporizing chunks of rock and sending fiery debris hurtling in all directions. "Evasive maneuvers!" Maya shouted, twisting her ship sharply. Her thrusters roared as she weaved through the deadly debris, sparks showering her hull. In the chaos, her ship's systems flickered, shields weakening under the relentless assault. "Damage report!" she barked. "Shields at 40%. And dropping," Rin answered grimly. "Engines holding for now." Maya's mind raced. They were no match for this behemoth head-on. But maybe, just maybe, there was a way to turn the tide. Her eyes locked on a narrow passage between two massive asteroids, too tight for the huge warships to follow, but just enough for her small craft. "Rin, cover me. I'm going through. Are you crazy? That's a death trap." Maya smiled grimly. "Sometimes the only way out is through." She accelerated, her ship darting like a silver arrow through the crushing rock walls. Behind her, the Imperator unleashed another blast, but the beam smashed into an asteroid, exploding in a shower of molten rock. Minutes later, Maya's ship emerged on the other side, battered but intact. Ahead lay the human colony, a cluster of domes and landing pads nestled in a crater. She switched to colony frequencies. "This is Captain Maya Voss of the Artemis. The Xylarian Empire is here. They intend to destroy this settlement. Evacuate. Immediately!" Static hissed back. Then a shaky voice replied, "Copy that, Captain. We're mobilizing evac teams now." Maya's heart pounded. She had bought them minutes, but the Empire's fleet was already closing in, like vultures circling their prey. Suddenly, an alarm blared through the cockpit. Sensors detected multiple fast-approaching ships, Xylarian fighters launching a pincer strike. "They've spotted us," Rin said, hands flying over controls. "Prepare for combat." Maya's gaze hardened. The fight was just beginning. The first wave came screaming through the asteroid belt, sleek ships bristling with energy cannons. Maya led her squadron out from the colony's defense perimeter, engines blazing. Laser fire lanced across the void, painting the darkness with deadly streaks of light. Explosions blossomed like fireworks as ships twisted and dove, each maneuver a desperate gamble. Maya felt the familiar rush, the sharp clarity when life balances on a razor's edge. She flipped her ship into a sudden barrel roll, dodging a plasma bolt that would have torn her hull apart. "We're outnumbered," Rin warned. "But they're slower in tight spaces. Use the terrain." Maya grinned. "Exactly why we don't. Fight like they do." The battle became a deadly dance of speed and strategy. Maya's squadron darted through the asteroid maze, using every rock and crater as cover. One by one, Xylarian fighters were taken down or forced to retreat. But the cost was high. Communications crackled with calls for medics, ship alarms blaring the names of fallen comrades. As the last enemy fighters pulled back, Maya's ship hovered near the colony's command dome, shields flickering and systems strained. "Report," she demanded. "Colony evacuation 50% complete," came the reply. "We've lost power in the southern sectors. They're vulnerable." A grim decision formed in Maya's mind. She would stay. Not just to fight, but to inspire. If the Xylarians thought humanity would crumble beneath their shadow, they hadn't met Captain Maya Voss. The war for survival had begun, and it was one humanity would fight with every ounce of heart, grit, and courage they had. The void beyond the asteroid belt was deathly silent, too silent. Captain Maya Voss's heart pounded in rhythm with the warning sirens blaring inside her ship, the Artemis. The Xylarian Empire's relentless war fleet had pulled back for now, but Maya knew this calm was a venomous breath before the storm. Her squadron's fighter ships hovered near the battered colony, engines humming softly as technicians scrambled to restore power and reinforce defenses. Maya paced her cockpit, eyes sharp and mind racing. The Empire wasn't just an overwhelming force of brute strength. They were cunning, relentless, and merciless. "Commander, sensors are detecting unusual energy signatures off the starboard flank," Lieutenant Rin reported, voice tight with concern. "It's not like anything we've seen before." Maya zoomed in on the flickering display. A cluster of small, fast-moving objects darted erratically through the asteroid field. Unmanned drones, enemy scouts, or something else? "Stay alert," she ordered. "This might be their trap." Minutes later, the trap revealed itself. Without warning, dozens of Xylarian assault fighters exploded from the shadows, swarming like a swarm of deadly hornets. Plasma blasts carved streaks of fiery death through the empty space between rocks. The colony's fragile defense turrets flared to life, but their fire was slow and methodical, no match for the nimble human fighters. "Engage!" Maya shouted, yanking the Artemis into a tight spiral as bolts whizzed past her cockpit. Her squadron scattered in every direction, weaving through jagged asteroids and vaporizing incoming missiles. The battle was a furious blur of chaos and precision, human pilots dancing on the edge of disaster. Suddenly, Maya caught sight of a massive Xylarian cruiser pushing through the asteroid maze, its hull bristling with cannons. It was the Dreadthorn, a name whispered with fear among starfarers for its devastating weaponry. "Rin, target that cruiser," Maya barked. "If that thing reaches the colony, it's over." Rin nodded grimly, rallying the fighters into an attack formation. They converged, on the Dreadthorn like a pack of wolves circling a wounded beast, but the cruiser's response was terrifying. Its forward cannons roared to life, spitting torrents of plasma that shattered rocks and ripped into fighters, turning sleek ships into burning wrecks. Maya's squadron faltered under the firepower. One by one, fighters were shredded or forced into evasive maneuvers. "We can't hold this," Rin yelled. "We're bleeding ships fast." Maya gritted her teeth. Not yet. She had one desperate plan. "Prepare for a kamikaze run on the cruiser's port engine," she ordered. "We'll cripple its mobility and force it to withdraw." Rin stared, disbelief flashing across his face. "Captain, that's suicide." Maya's eyes locked on the glowing engine nacelle, heat shimmering like a molten beacon. "Sometimes the only way to win is to risk everything." Her voice was steady, but inside, fear gnawed at her resolve. She'd lost too many already. This mission was humanity's spark. They couldn't afford to lose it now. With a roar, Maya slammed the Artemis into a dive, weaving through enemy fire like a ghost. Her ship shuddered violently as plasma bolts peppered her shields. The world outside twisted in a kaleidoscope of light and shadow. Asteroids streaked past, the cruiser looming closer, its weapons locking on. Her co-pilot's voice broke through the chaos. "Captain, systems failing, shields at 10%. Hold on," Maya whispered, gripping the controls as if her life depended on it, because it did. With seconds left, she fired the ship's remaining torpedoes straight at the engine nacelle. The cruiser shuddered violently as the missiles struck home, igniting a catastrophic chain reaction. Explosions rippled through the cruiser's hull, and a firestorm blossomed across its surface. The Dreadthorn slowed, its weapons flickering and faltering. Maya's Artemis shuddered violently, systems failing, but she pushed her damaged ship away from the dying cruiser, veering into the asteroid belt. Her squadron, inspired by her sacrifice, rallied fiercely. The remaining fighters pounced on retreating Xylarian vessels, carving a path for the colony's evacuation ships. Back on the colony's command center, the evac leader broadcasted a message of hope. "This is Commander Lyra of the colony. Thanks to Captain Voss's courage, our people will live to fight another day. Humanity will not bow to the Empire." Maya slumped in her seat, breath shallow, systems failing around her, but a faint smile touched her lips. The Empire had met its match, not in firepower, but in the fierce will of one human and her crew. Outside, stars glittered cold and distant, but among them, a spark had ignited, a spark that would soon burn across the galaxy. The colony's fragile victory echoed through the void, but the shadows of war were far from over. Captain Maya Voss stared at the flickering holographic map projected before her, the cold blue light reflecting off her determined face. The Xylarian Empire was no longer just an overwhelming force of destruction. They were cunning, ruthless, and hiding secrets darker than anyone dared imagine. Her ship, the Artemis, floated silently in a secluded nebula, a perfect place for secrets to hide. The air was thick with tension. Somewhere in the void, enemies lurked, both seen and unseen. "Commander," Lieutenant Rin's voice cracked through the comms, his tone laced with urgency. "We've intercepted a transmission. It's garbled, but there's something odd about it. The encryption matches Xylarian codes, but the content is scrambled, almost like a warning." Maya leaned forward, her brow furrowing as she analyzed the static-ridden message. The fragments hinted at betrayal. Words like traitor, secret pact, and collapse flickered across the broken transmission. "We're not just fighting an empire," Maya murmured. "There's a web of deceit tangled deep within their ranks." Suddenly, her ship's sensors beeped sharply. A blip emerged on the radar, small but fast, weaving through the asteroid debris like a ghost. "Contact approaching, stealth signature," Rin reported. "Unknown vessel, no response to hails." Maya's fingers tightened on the console. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers. This could be a trap." The ship rocked violently as an explosion detonated nearby, a warning shot that shattered the eerie calm. Out of the haze emerged sleek fighters, but these were different. Stealth drones cloaked in near invisibility, their shapes shimmering in and out of sight. "Xylarian scouts," Rin said grimly. "They're probing us, looking for weaknesses." Maya ordered her squadron to form a tight defensive ring, their ship's thrusters igniting in bursts of light. The space around them became a deadly chessboard, each move calculated, each breath held. But then, an encrypted message broke through the interference, this time clearer but chilling. "To Captain Maya Voss," the distorted voice hissed. "We know what you seek. The Empire is crumbling from within. Trust no one, not even your closest allies." The message ended abruptly, leaving a cold silence in its wake. Who sent that? Rin whispered, unease coloring his words. Maya's jaw clenched. Someone inside the Empire who wants the truth to be known or who wants to sow chaos. That night, Maya convened a council on the Artemis. The room was dim, shadows pooling in the corners, as leaders from human factions and defected alien dissidents gathered. We face more than an external enemy, Maya said, her voice steady but grave. The Empire's own house is divided. We must use this to our advantage, but with caution. The spies and traitors could be among us. Eyes darted nervously around the room. Suspicion was a poison that spread faster than any virus. Suddenly, an alarm blared, an intruder alert. The ship's security systems detected unauthorized access deep in the command decks. Maya's heart slammed. Seal the compartments! Lockdown protocols now! Gunfire echoed in the corridors. Shadows moved swiftly, a figure darting through. The narrow halls. Saboteur on board, Rin confirmed, panic creeping into his voice. They're trying to cripple our systems. Maya grabbed her sidearm, racing toward the breach. She found the intruder, a cloaked figure barely visible in the dim light, attempting to hack the ship's core. Stop! She shouted, leveling her weapon. The figure froze, then slowly turned, a young alien woman, her eyes wide with desperation. Please, the woman begged in broken human speech. I'm a rebel. I want to help you. The Empire's collapse is near, but you must be careful. There are forces that want to see us all destroyed. Maya hesitated, weighing the risk. Trust was scarce, but this could be the key to unraveling the Empire's deadly secrets. Talk, Maya said. But know this. Betray us and I will not hesitate. The rebels' story spilled forth, a tale of hidden factions, of an emperor's paranoia driving his generals to treachery, and of a secret weapon capable of ending entire star systems. Maya's mind raced. This war was more than battles. It was a deadly game of shadows and lies. As the Artemis surged forward, threading through nebula clouds that glowed with eerie colors, Maya realized the greatest battle might not be fought with weapons, but with trust and betrayal. And somewhere, deep in the Empire's heart, the web of deceit tightened. Captain Maya Voss watched the swirling nebula fade behind her as the Artemis slipped deeper into enemy territory, right into the heart of the Xylarian Empire. The stolen intel from the rebel woman had revealed a secret. The Empire's power wasn't just military might, it was a devastating weapon buried deep within their homeworld. A weapon capable of erasing entire star systems with a single pulse. Maya's mission was clear, but perilous. Infiltrate the Imperial capital, find the weapon's core, and destroy it before the Empire unleashed annihilation across the galaxy. Stars outside seemed to dim as the Artemis approached the massive planet, its surface a swirling mix of storms and unnatural energy. Towering spires of black metal pierced the clouds, the Imperial citadel glowing with cold blue lights like the eye of a mechanical god. Scanners are picking up heavy patrols, Lieutenant Rin warned, fingers dancing over the console. The entire planet is on high alert after our last attack. Maya nodded, jaw tight. We don't have a choice. We move now. Stealth and precision. The Artemis slipped through the planet's defensive grids like a ghost, cloaking fields shimmering as enemy sensors swept past. Inside the ship, tension was a living thing, palpable and thick. Suddenly, a jarring explosion rocked the ship. Alarms. Screamed! Ambush! Rin shouted. They knew we were coming! Outside the viewport, sleek interceptor fighters burst from hidden hangars, cutting through the clouds with lethal speed. Evasive maneuvers, Maya ordered, twisting the Artemis through narrow canyons carved in the planet's surface. Explosions erupted around them, debris raining down as enemy fire slammed into the hull. The ship shuddered violently. Warning lights flashed, shields failing, engines overheating. We're losing power! Rin yelled, struggling to stabilize the systems. Maya's mind raced. They were outgunned and outnumbered. But she remembered the rebels' words. The Empire was fragile from within. There was a weakness, a fissure waiting to be exploited. With a grim smile, she pulled a risky maneuver. The Artemis plunged into a dense storm system, swirling with ionized gases that disrupted enemy sensors. Forcing their fighters to lose lock, Rin said, relief barely hiding his exhaustion. But the storm was a double-edged sword. Electrical arcs danced along the hull, threatening to fry the ship's systems at any moment. Maya gritted her teeth as the Artemis dove through the storm, navigating by instinct and blind faith. After what felt like an eternity, the ship emerged. Beneath the shadow of the Imperial Citadel, a monolithic fortress carved into the planet's core, pulsing with deadly energy. Maya activated the ship's landing protocols, touching down on a narrow platform hidden beneath swirling clouds. They were deep inside enemy territory, with no backup and only moments to act. She turned to her team. "This is it. We find the weapon's core, shut it down, and send a message no Empire can ignore." The corridor inside the Citadel was a cold cathedral of steel and blinking consoles, silent except for the soft hum of power flowing through its veins. Shadows stretched long as the team moved cautiously, every step echoing in the vast halls. Suddenly, motion detectors flared. Enemy guards rounded the corner, soldiers clad in dark armor, their weapons raised. "Contact!" Maya shouted, drawing her sidearm. A fierce firefight erupted, laser bolts slicing through the dim corridors, sparks flying as shots struck walls and consoles. Maya ducked behind a pillar, returning fire with deadly precision. Her team pushed forward, clearing the way inch by inch. Then, ahead, the weapon's core chamber appeared, a massive reactor glowing with unstable energy, surrounded by pulsating conduits and warning signs in the Xylarian script. Maya's breath caught. The core pulsed like a beating heart, threatening to unleash destruction across countless worlds. "Plant the charges," she ordered. "We have minutes before this place goes into lockdown." As the team worked quickly, an eerie silence fell, broken only by the rhythmic pulse of the reactor. Suddenly, a booming voice filled the chamber. "You dare defile the Emperor's sanctum?" The Imperial commander emerged from the shadows, tall, armored, eyes burning with fanatic fury. "You will die here, human." Maya squared her shoulders, weapon raised. Not today. The final battle began, a deadly dance of gunfire and tactics as Maya's team fought against overwhelming odds. Explosions rocked the chamber as the charges counted down. With seconds left, Maya locked eyes with the commander, a silent promise. Passing between them, this war was far from over. As the charges detonated, the reactor erupted in a blinding flash, sending shock waves through the Citadel. The Artemis shook violently as alarms screamed. "Get to the ship! Now!" Maya ordered. The team scrambled back through collapsing corridors, enemy fire chasing their every step. They burst into the open, engines roaring as the ship lifted off just as the Citadel began to implode behind them. Maya stared back. At the collapsing fortress, heart pounding. The Empire's heart was broken, but its fury was far from spent. The explosion of the Imperial Citadel still burned in Captain Maya Voss's mind like a nightmare she couldn't shake. The Artemis raced through the cold void, engines screaming as enemy ships scrambled in pursuit. The Xylarian Empire was wounded, but not defeated. Far from it. "Shields are holding at 50%, Lieutenant Rin reported, sweat beading on his brow. "But they're sending reinforcements, more fighters, and something bigger." Maya's eyes narrowed. "How bigger?" "Juggernaut-class battlecruiser," Rin said grimly. "It's a fortress in space. If it catches us, we're done." Artemis shook as missile blasts slammed into the hull. The sky outside seemed to darken under the weight of the enemy fleet, massive cruisers blotting out distant stars. "We can't outrun them forever," Maya said. "We need a plan." Her mind raced back to the rebels' warning. There were traitors inside the Empire, factions desperate for power. Could she use that to her advantage? "Rin, send out a coded transmission," she ordered. "Appeal to the Bay, factions that want the Emperor's downfall. Tell them the Citadel's destruction is the signal to rise." The ship's comms crackled as the message spread through shadowy channels, secret networks humming with whispered promises of rebellion. Minutes later, the enemy fleet's formation faltered. The massive battlecruiser slowed, and smaller ships broke ranks, turning inward like vultures circling a dying beast. Suddenly, a hail came through. The face of a Xylarian officer appeared, his expression tense but relieved. "This is Commander Threx of the rebel faction," he announced. "Your actions have ignited a war within the Empire itself. We stand with you." Maya allowed herself a brief, tired smile. Allies where none were expected. But the victory was short-lived. Without warning, a massive energy pulse exploded from the battlecruiser, sending shockwaves through space. The Artemis's systems flickered violently. "EMP blast!" Rin shouted. "We're going dark! Losing shields and comms!" The Artemis plunged into darkness, drifting helplessly as enemy ships closed in. "Eject!" Maya ordered, heart pounding. "Escape!" Pods launched, scattering through the void. Maya's pod hurtled toward a nearby asteroid belt, a precarious refuge. As she tumbled through the debris field, her pod's comm crackled weakly. "This is Commander Threx. We have forces nearby. Hold tight!" Maya's pod slammed into a cavern hidden deep inside an asteroid. Darkness swallowed her whole. Inside the cavern, faint lights flickered. Human and alien faces emerged from shadows. Rebels, survivors, fighters forged by desperation and hope. "We've been waiting for you, Captain," Threx said, stepping forward. His Vakari eyes burned with determination. "The Empire's shadows rise, but so do we." Maya rose, her body aching but her spirit unbroken. This was no longer just a fight for survival. It was a war for the soul of the galaxy. Outside, the stars burned cold, but inside the asteroid's heart, a fire ignited. The cavern buzzed with quiet urgency as Captain Maya Voss stood among the ragtag assembly of humans and alien rebels. Flickering holomaps illuminated the rough stone walls, casting long shadows over determined faces. The rebel commander, Threx, paced with a warrior's resolve. "Our time is short," he said, voice low but firm. The Empire's loyalists tightened their grip. The destruction of the Citadel sparked rebellion, but they will crush it swiftly if we do not act. Maya studied the scattered fleet of ships docked inside the cavernous asteroid base. Makeshift. Repairs and hastily installed weapons transform the aging vessels into deadly tools of defiance. "We have something they don't," Maya said, eyes blazing. "Human resilience. And now, with your knowledge inside the Empire, we can strike where it hurts." Threx nodded. "Agreed. But the Empire is more than steel and firepower. Their spies are everywhere, watching, waiting. Trust is a currency more valuable than any weapon." Suddenly, the base's alarm wailed, a sharp, piercing sound that shattered the fragile calm. "Breach!" a technician shouted. "Sensors detect incoming ships, Imperial enforcers!" Panic surged through the rebels, but Maya's voice cut through the chaos. "Hold positions! Prepare to defend!" Outside, the asteroid's dark skies flickered with the glow of enemy engines cutting through the void. Imperial enforcer fighters swarmed like angry hornets, launching a fierce assault on the hidden rebel fleet. Inside the narrow corridors, Maya and Threx rallied their troops, the tension thick enough to taste. "Get to the command center," Maya ordered. "We must protect the communications array." As laser blasts tore through the stone walls, the rebels fought with desperate ferocity. Maya's heart pounded as she deflected a plasma bolt with her forearm, the heat scorching her armor. The battle turned into a deadly dance, gunfire echoing through tunnels, sparks flying as systems failed and alarms blared. Suddenly, Threx's comm crackled with a chilling message. "Captain Voss, a cold voice hissed. "You are fools to think you can defy the Empire. Surrender now, and your rebellion will end swiftly." Maya gritted her teeth. "We'll never surrender." A volley of plasma fire erupted from the hallway, forcing them to take cover behind a bulkhead. "We can't hold forever," Threx said, grimly. "We need a plan, fast." Maya's eyes scanned the flickering map, an idea forming. "The Empire relies on a central command drone orbiting the planet," she said. "If we can destroy it, their coordination will collapse." Threx considered the risk. "It's guarded by automated defense satellites, deadly and relentless." Maya smiled grimly. "Then we'll need to fly under the radar." The rebels scrambled to prepare a small strike team. Maya led the mission personally, her hands steady despite the adrenaline. Their shuttle blasted through the asteroid field, weaving past debris and enemy patrols. Outside, the planet loomed large, its swirling storms reflecting the turmoil inside Maya's mind. As they neared the orbiting drone, a web of lasers and missiles awaited. "Stealth mode engaged," Maya whispered, gripping the controls. The shuttle slipped through gaps in the defenses like a shadow, hearts pounding with every breath. But then a sudden burst of fire lit up the darkness. An enemy frigate had locked onto them. Evasive maneuvers. Maya shouted. The shuttle rocked violently, alarms blaring as missiles streaked past. Rin, piloting from the co-seat, twisted the controls expertly, dodging and weaving through the chaos. Finally, they reached the drone, a massive metallic orb, bristling with weapons and sensors. Maya deployed the charges quickly, heart racing as countdowns beeped in unison. "Get out now," she ordered. The shuttle screamed away just as the drone erupted in a fiery explosion, shards scattering across space like deadly stars. Back at the asteroid base, the enemy fleet faltered, their communications cut, coordination shattered. The Tsar. Rebels seized the moment, pushing back fiercely, driving the Imperial enforcers into retreat. Maya exhaled deeply, her gaze hardening. The battle was far from over, but for the first time, hope flickered bright. The destruction of the command drone had sent shockwaves through the Xylarian Empire's network, but it had also awakened a beast more terrifying than any fleet, the Emperor himself. From his obsidian throne, high in the Imperial palace carved, into the heart of the planet, the Emperor's eyes burned with cold fury. His voice, amplified across countless systems, was a storm unleashed. Traitors, rebels, all will burn. Across the galaxy, Imperial warships darkened skies and crushed resistance with brutal efficiency. The Artemis and its allies were marked for total annihilation. Captain Maya Voss watched the warnings flood her comms, the faces of her crew grim but resolute. "We knew this day would come," Maya said, voice steadied despite the weight pressing down. "The Emperor will stop at nothing." Her gaze fixed on the holomap, flickering red with countless Imperial fleets mobilizing. "We must strike before they do," Lieutenant Rin urged, fingers flying over the console. "There's one last target, the Emperor's warship. If we destroy it, we may cripple their command." Maya nodded, determination hardening her features. "Then we go to the Lion's Den." The Artemis slipped through space, cloaked by shadows and desperation. The Emperor's warship loomed, a colossal dreadnought, dark as a black hole, its hull scarred with battle and humming with devastating power. As they closed in, enemy fighters swarmed, cutting through space like deadly shards. "Brace for impact," Maya warned. "Engage the fighters." The void exploded with laser fire and missile trails, the Artemis weaving through deadly storms of plasma bolts. Inside the ship, tension was suffocating. Each second felt like a lifetime. Suddenly the hull groaned under a massive blast. "Shields at 10%, Rin yelled. "Hull breach imminent." Maya clenched her fists. "Hold the line. Target the Dreadnought's reactor." The battle grew fierce. Fighters collided. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers in the void. The dreadnought unleashed a sweeping energy beam, slicing through enemy ships with terrifying precision. "We need a miracle," Maya whispered. Then, from the depths of the ship's hold, a new ally appeared. An ancient alien war machine, long dormant, but now reactivated by Threx's rebels. Its heavy footsteps echoed through the corridors, armor gleaming with runes of old power. "This is our chance," Threx said grimly. "The old legends speak of this weapon, designed to face impossible odds." With the war machine unleashed, the tide shifted. The dreadnought faltered under its relentless assault. Inside the Emperor's bridge, his eyes narrowed as alarms screamed. "Bring me the human captain!" Maya stared at the approaching boarding pod, knowing this was the final confrontation. The Artemis's crew readied for boarding. Maya's heart thundered, not just with fear, but with the fierce fire of defiance. The pod slammed into the hull, hatches opening to reveal elite Imperial guards. A brutal fight erupted, blades clashed, shots fired in tight quarters. Maya pushed forward, face to face with the Emperor's personal guard. "Your empire ends here," she growled, but just as victory seemed near, the Emperor himself stepped into the fray. Tall, imposing, radiating power. Their eyes locked, two wills colliding in a silent storm. The fate of a galaxy balanced on the edge of a blade. The Emperor's cold gaze bore into Captain Maya Voss like a blade. Around them, the shattered halls of the dreadnought echoed with the clatter of battle. Imperial guards clashing with rebels, sparks flying from scorched walls. "You are but one human," the Emperor said, voice like grinding steel. "You cannot stop what is inevitable." Maya's breath was steady, heart pounding like war drums. Maybe, but one human can still change the fate of many. With a sudden roar, the Emperor lunged, his energy blades slicing through the air. Maya dodged, countering with a burst from her plasma pistol. They moved in a deadly dance, strike and parry, each testing the other's limits. Around them, chaos raged, but in this moment, time seemed to freeze. Maya's thoughts flicked to her crew, to the countless lives depending on her. Failure was not an option. The Emperor's blade flashed again, and Maya felt the searing heat graze her armor. Pain flared, sharp and real. Summoning every ounce of strength, Maya feinted left and drove forward with a desperate strike. The plasma pistol shot struck the Emperor's side, forcing him back with a grunt. "Impressive," he hissed, wiping blood from his lip. "But this ends now." Suddenly, the ship shuddered violently. The rebel war machine outside had breached the dreadnought's core, detonating a chain reaction. "Time is running out," Threx's voice crackled over comms. "Evacuate!" Maya didn't hesitate. She launched herself at the Emperor, tackling him to the ground amid sparks and fire. With a final burst, she pressed her blade to his throat. "This is the end," she whispered. But instead of anger, the Emperor's eyes softened. Just for a flicker. "Perhaps," he said, voice fading, "you are what this galaxy needs." The dreadnought exploded around them, light and debris swallowing the darkness. Maya was thrown clear, the world spinning. She awoke aboard the Artemis, her team surrounding her, battered but alive. Outside the viewport, stars shone brighter than ever. The Empire shattered, but the galaxy free. Maya's gaze lifted, hope burning like a beacon. The fight had been brutal, the cost high, but humanity had shown its indomitable spirit. Moral: in the face of overwhelming darkness, the courage to stand alone can ignite the light that changes everything.